Welcome back to the Jam with Lamb podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Lamb, guitarist for the metal band Maul. Today, my guest is a homie from down south, Matt Thompson of the band Saintpeeler. Matt's a great guitarist. If no one's ever heard of Saintpeeler, how would you, and they were Googling the band, how would you describe the sound in your own words?
Oh, man. Aggressive, kind of like punk, hardcore, death metal leaning type shit. For fans of like Trap Them, Nails, Ingrown,
Hell yeah.
Gulch.
What was your first guitar?
I think it was the Ibanez RG320 GP.
Hell yeah. I actually just got an Ibanez RG for free from like a homie.
Really?
And I like repainted the pick guard white. It was like neon pink.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I repainted the pick guard with fucking Flex Seal, white Flex Seal. So it's like rubber. It works, dude. Yeah. So it just looks like a regular ass Strat now, but I don't know.
Tight.
I couldn't pull off the 2008 neon deathcore look.
No.
I feel like I used it once for a gig when my Epiphone was... I've been using the same Epiphone Les Paul for like a decade.
Rock solid.
And there were like it is getting close to the end. Like it's got a crack right on the fucking top of the neck, one at the bottom of the neck going around, it's a neck through. So it's like, and it's got a crack right on the fretboard going almost to the first fret. Like it's already halfway there. It's like any day it's going to be its last, but I'm going to fucking keep rocking it until it dies.
Rock it till it falls apart into dust.
What's your favorite Metallica album?
Oh man, it's
Or are you like a Megadeth person?
No, I mean, I'm always, into like, everybody's like, oh, the first four, right? But I don't know. I think Master of Puppets is probably the one. I love Ride the Lightning. I think all four of those first records are awesome, but I think, Master, Ride the Lightning.
Ride the Lightning was like one of the first I heard, so it's like that's definitely where I'm kind of like attached.
Yeah.
But it's like I actually started in the Black Album. Like that's when I started playing guitar. I had like the Black Album book, the tab book. You know what I mean?
I think the Black
Fade
Album
to Black, dude, was like one of the first songs I ever learned. Actually,
it gets a cold shoulder from a lot of people just because it was like more mainstream.
Because it broke the industry, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Just kidding.
I think that album,
that's going to be this whole Super Bowl set, anyways.
I think that
one day.
Rocks. I don't care.
What's your favorite rock band from Texas?
Rock band from Texas. If we're talking like simply rock band, probably like the Toadies.
Hell yeah.
There's a lot of like younger guys. Like there's this band Feed that a bunch of my friends were in back in, I want to say like 07, 08.
It's funny because like up north, just being from Texas, like it doesn't matter where you're playing, could be a casino or a fucking DIY place. People are like, oh shit, they're from Texas. Like I don't know, being from Texas does have like this is gonna fucking rock feature. You have like a lot to live up to from being from Texas. I feel like versus like North Dakota, there's not an expectation of what to sound like or whatever, because there aren't really a lot of fucking heavy or even rock bands coming out of North Dakota.
That's actually really interesting because like I feel like Texas gets like a weird look sometimes from a lot of places, and so it's really funny to hear when people actually like admire stuff that's coming out of Texas. They're like, you know what to expect, and it's like, really, do you? Because for the longest time people are like, wait, you're from Texas? I've never heard of anything that happens out of there. And we're just like, there's a lot. There's a ton of bands like always here.
Sick. Where are you originally from?
San Antonio.
Word.
So I grew up in San Antonio. I moved to Austin in 2009.
Nice. When you were like kind of growing up in San Antonio, what was like some of the first like who was like the first person you ever saw like play guitar?
Ooh, first person I saw. I definitely was exposed to guitar music like really early on through like movies and just like kind of turning the radio dial. But seeing somebody play guitar outside of music videos was probably when I like started, like somebody probably at my middle school was probably like, hey, there's a place where you can watch bands play called the White Rabbit. Like there's a show happening this weekend.
Is White Rabbit still alive?
It's called Paper Tiger now.
Oh, word. Oh, deep cut. I did not know that.
So back in the mid 2000s or like the 2010s maybe, the original owner of the White Rabbit had passed away a few years prior, and it passed on to some other people, and then they essentially passed it on, and it renamed to Paper Tiger, and it's been that. Yeah, I mean that's like, I feel like that's San Antonio's like premier DIY heavy music space, at least in this era of time. The one that stands out into my mind when I started going to like punk and hardcore shows, it was called Sin 13. It's a taco or a Mexican restaurant now.
Nice.
It's actually a pretty good Mexican restaurant, and it's right down the street from the record store Hog Wild, which is also attached to a music venue that
Hog Wild sounds like a good band.
Yeah. It's a music venue that's actually what used to be called the Sanctuary. I don't know if it's called the Sanctuary anymore.
Yeah.
But that's what it used to be back in like 04 through.
Yeah, the Sanctuary I work at, it's a very multi-event venue. So it's like we do everything from like concerts to weddings to stand-up. Like we got Bill Burr coming soon.
Oh, wow.
You have like a favorite Death album?
Death. Yeah, Scream Bloody Gore.
Hell yeah.
that and Leprosy.
First person to say it. Normally, like, that's one of those joke questions I have where it's like, no matter what people say, I'm like, so not Scream Bloody Gore. Okay, whatever. You know, just like fuck with people. I don't know. I actually started with Leprosy, so that's kind of like what I don't know.
Yeah, it's like that one and Leprosy kind of go back and forth, but Scream Bloody Gore, I think, just has like some moments on it where I just keep going back to.
When I first met Vinny from Phobo, we were at a party and he was pretty intoxicated and
awesome.
He was wearing a Death shirt and I was just fucking with him and I was like, bro, what's that band? Like, what are they like? You know? Death, I've never heard of this band. And he was just like, oh my God, Lamb. Oh, dude. You don't know Death, dude. Oh man, I fucking Control Alt deleted his ass. I love fucking with people like that too. Like my buddy Dallas, shout out Dallas. One night when we were partying together, I was like, yeah, dude, fucking Dave Mustaine is so much better than Dimebag, dude. It's like
I think Dimebag Darrell will be playing a quad Cortex in 2025.
Yeah, actually, I mean, probably into a fucking Digitech with like 100 different, that old ass Digitech pedal with like 100 different effects. That would actually be his setup nowadays, straight into a crate, into a fucking, or crank. I think that was actually his last endorsement.
I think that's true. He'd probably find a way to make it sound like.
Bro, I would rock crank.
Those amps look insane.
I mean, I've used the same 6505 Plus for 8 years, never had a problem.
Yeah.
Well, except for my foot switch. The first time we did come to Texas, I fucking was like playing some of Al's parts because he wasn't with us, so I had to have some like clean, reverb delay shit.
Yeah.
And it was like right after we played Laredo. I think it was the dust kind of fucking got it,
Yeah.
But the one time I tried to use my goddamn switch pedal, gave out on me.
Is the 6505 switch still that like 3-prong plug in the back?
Yep.
That's like the one thing
it's like a MIDI, actually. It's like a 6-prong MIDI. It kind of like is 3 on each side, I want to say, actually.
Oh,
with like the little square middle thing.
Yeah.
Don't know which 5150 do you have?
It's the block letter.
Oh, word.
Like it's I've
been thinking about getting a 5150 just because it's like, I don't know. I see a lot of people using them. They become almost like the industry standard, I feel like, for touring bands.
Yeah, I love them. I really like the sound that I can get for our band with it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not like limited to that, which is fortunate because I know there's like some bands out there where they're like, if we don't have an MPEG V4, then we don't sound like our band, or similar situations like that, or whatever. And I'm just like, I just really like.
I don't know.
Reliable.
I am like snobby about certain things, but at the end of the day, it's like, if the riffs should fucking speak for themselves.
Yeah,
like it shouldn't really matter what amp or fucking speaker you're using, but I do prefer V30s, you know what I mean? Like, sure. But anytime I'm playing with someone and I see a dude has like a cab they made, I'm like, bro, can I check it out? Yeah. I love that shit. What's some like tips you would give for like a beginning guitarist that's just getting into it?
Play without distortion for a while.
Nice.
I think that distortion is fun and like you can definitely get the chugs, but I feel like learning clean technique before actually like just getting into the weeds of guitar tone
that is something I learned very late in the game. Like just in the last few years, I've started practicing that way where it's like undistorted, especially like soloing. Because yeah, sometimes when you're using effects or just you have super high gain, like sometimes you don't realize something's kind of needs to be tightened up or whatever until you're fucking actually hearing it. Yeah. It's the same way, like once I finally started using EMGs, I really realized like, oh shit, I need to like tighten up my fingers here. It's like you can hear every little
you can hear so much.
It really exposes people sometimes.
Yeah, I would also say don't listen to like gear groups on the internet.
Yeah.
Just because everybody has an opinion about something, and they're usually talking about using a tube screamer into an amp that you can't afford. So
the only like gear group I've ever like really, I mean, I'm in a few of them. Like Pedal Boards of Doom. Sure. I don't know if you're in that, but I'm in like a BC Rich group where I actually found the original fucking owner of like a Warlock I had.
Really?
That I actually sold Brenner from Brat. It's like a fucking seafoam blue, kind of like a light blue,
That's
like
crazy.
Diamond series. And my brother got it from a pawn shop for like $150.
No kidding.
Yeah, and I could tell he had it like sitting against a freezer in his garage, you know, with like stickers on it and shit. And I was like, hey, how much for this guitar? Yeah. And he was like, I'm not selling it to you. Yeah. And then like a week later, he was like, all right,
I'll sell it. Yeah. No, I have a pretty crazy Warlock myself. It was given to me. I somehow didn't have to buy it. It was broken at the time when it was given to me. Yeah. And so it was one of those things where it was just like, could you get this fixed? And I was like, yeah, I've done this before. I've broken headstocks, a couple times. So I did.
What are you using for a rig right now besides the 5150? Do you have like pedals you're using?
Yeah. So primarily for amps, I will use a 5150 block letter that has the FJA mod on it, which for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it just means that it's a little bit more like a Soldano than 5150, but that's really not that much different because the Soldano is what the 5150 was made to emulate.
Yeah. I am a slut for Soldanos, dude.
Fuck yeah.
We did use one technically on the record. Like,
oh shit.
I don't know if you ever saw that picture I posted on the Twitter. Like the rhythm guitar tone is actually like 4 heads. It's a 5150.
Because y'all recorded with Adam D, right?
Yeah. And there was a Soldano into a Soldano cab, and then I also had a crate solid state on top that wasn't really distorted. I was like using that more like an overdrive.
That's fucking
you know what I mean? It was pretty fun, and that was like just DI'd.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Fuck yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm pretty sure we had like a dual rec as well. So it was 4 amps. So it's like when I was tracking, it was actually 4 tracks at once. Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It was dope.
We recorded with 4 amps. Well, 5 amps technically for ours, but live I use that 5150 normally. I also use a VTM 120 that was rehoused into just a lighter wood housing, and I split those on each side of the stage so that I have more or less like a stereo setup that I can A/B. And
do you like that sound versus just like one cab mic'd up? Do you feel like you can feel it more on stage, or
we have
does
parts
it just like
where
help
the
with like playing
by itself?
Yeah.
And I like to cut off a part of the stage so it feels like there's a second guitar player. And I feel like it just sounds more full that way.
What do you use to kill it?
To kill it, I use the right now I use a Radial Twin City ABY.
Sure.
But on the board, primarily my sound comes from the Void Manufacturing Welltall.
Nice. Shout out Void.
He essentially made like a very versatile overdrive, which you can tune the HM2 type of sound into it. And lately I've been kind of pondering the thought that maybe it's just a metal zone.
It might be, actually. I don't know if you've ever opened it up and looked at the fucking
No, but I mean,
I don't know, I couldn't tell if I opened it up, but
I only say that because you can get the HM2 sound out of a metal zone if you want to.
Oh yeah.
And the Welltall does a plethora of things. Like it has a rotary switch in it, so you can like if you turn the rotary switch once, it just changes the tonal profile of it entirely.
Is it changing like the
I think it's
actual frequency?
Yeah, it's a pretty like intelligent designed pedal. I think it's one of his more.
I've been thinking about getting something like that actually to make more like, I don't know. There's I don't know if you've ever listened to like Tony Danza Tap Dancing Extravaganza. You know, kind of like how they do that. Sometimes they'll do the little fucking lead shit, but it's like that's like one way to kind of get to that. kind of dual lead off pitch, but augmented.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was thinking about using it for that, but
could be cool. Yeah.
Nice.
But I like that one for the distortion, and then for really I only use 2 pedals that alter the sound, and for my lead sounds I just use the Michael Klein Lonely Ghost.
Nice.
Which I can't recommend that pedal enough.
Yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I have a pretty simple setup. I only have like I have like a custom pedal that was actually made by Paul from Gorgatron that Garrett got me for my birthday. I use that. That's kind of like a HM2 on one side, and then on the other side it's like a boost, like a custom made boost where it's like the high and mid frequencies are together and then the bass is separate.
Yeah.
And then it's also got just like a separate volume as well, cool, to kind of give it even more. Like I can use it as a boost for like solos.
Yeah.
I kind of use it to just give my fucking distortion just a little bit more of that grit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't sound too perfect, because that 6505 does sound pretty fucking clean. So that's really all I have on top of it, though, is that like fucking boost, you know what I mean? I have like a Ditto that I recorded a fucking looped bass sample thing, and that we'll use between songs sometimes, like if the fucking sample pad goes out, or like, you know, Al's shit decides to explode, like we'll use that sometimes.
Yeah, but, I mean, sometimes you gotta have those fail safes and
especially when you're in like small venues that you're not micing shit up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or there's not a DI. Like,
well,
I don't know, it's easier to do shit like that than have to worry about.
That's a thing that we've run into a lot. Not so much recently, but like when we first started playing together, the place that we would play often was like a DIY space that had no PA.
Yeah.
PA for vocals only, really.
Those are my favorite shows. And when you show up and there's no PA and you're like, hell yeah, who's got speakers, bro?
Yeah. And that's when I used my 612 the most.
Yeah.
And I used to play through a V4 at that point, so if you couldn't hear me, you were deaf.
One of me and Garrett's first shows, I literally had vocals just going through a fucking guitar amp, like in a 4x12. Like just on the clean channel, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you're just sending a signal through the amplifier. It doesn't really make a huge difference. It
was in like a fucking community center that cost like $60, and I told him we were having a birthday party. I was like, we're gonna party. It's gonna get loud.
That rocks. That's so sick.
Do you remember your first show?
Yeah, it was at the White Rabbit with a band that played one show ever, and it was I don't even really remember the name of the band or what the song sounded like, but it was definitely just like a rock band that just wanted to play guitar music, and it was awful, and there was probably 12 people there, which is maybe more than some people's first shows, maybe less, I don't know, it just depends on the location, I guess, but I remember it going by super fast and it being really bad.
My first like local technically show was in a homie's garage that was like on a farm like 4 miles out of town, out of Manelman, and it was one band, I'm pretty sure, and they were called Shot in the Face. And like their opening fucking song, they had like a foghorn like like Hazard Zone sample. And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. You know, I was like fucking 11, dude, you know. But it was like the first time they had like a fog machine. That was pretty much it. And it was just black lights, you know, in some homie's garage. And I was like, this is cool. But what was the first like metal band you saw, like big concert?
I definitely went to a Ozfest.
Hell yeah.
And I think
Lucky.
One of the first bands that I remember, definitely Hatebreed.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually one of the first bigger bands I saw as well.
Yeah.
It was Hatebreed and Lamb of God, actually.
First few shows, like, was definitely that Ozfest that one of my friends, like, his dad worked for a beer distributing company in San Antonio, so he was able to get us
getting the fucking goodies, dude. Yeah. I had a homie whose dad was like that, too. He worked for, like, fucking Bud Light or some shit. Yeah. We used to get, like, Vikings tickets.
Yeah. Got us into Ozfest, saw Hatebreed, saw Slayer.
That's dope.
Just, like, stuff that you normally wouldn't go to. Like, you know, just things like that. And then I started going to more, like, local shows pretty regularly, and then that was my life up until I basically started my career.
Nice. Sweet. All right, we're about to pull the plug on the podcast. Before we pull the plug, Matt, is there anything you would like to plug?
Yeah, I mean, so Saintpeeler just put out an EP back in August, self-titled. You can find it on streaming services, and saintpeeler.com for more like physical and stuff. I'm also in a band called Fleshrot. We have a full length and a demo out. I'm not sure the amount of presses we have left, but I know that we're going to be writing and recording at some point in 2025, so we got something like that.
Nice.
And then Adrian from Saintpeeler is also in a plethora of bands: Blacktooth, Mount Gray, to name a few. He's in Creeping Death.
Hell yeah. Shout out
those bands out. Gabe is also in a band called Full Contact out of Laredo. So we got a lot of stuff going on.
Hell yeah. If people were trying to find Saintpeeler online, are you guys like on all platforms, or is there a certain place people should go? Do you have like an app for your handle or anything like that?
Yeah, we have a Bandcamp. I think it's just saintpeeler.bandcamp.com, and then Instagram, and most socials is Saintpeeler with an underscore right after it.